And again, most of these big Briggs Stratton engines are going to be about the same as far as how they're set up and how you put them together. The gas line, our gas tank's back here. Now this is another problem that I have run into with this, is our gas tank is actually cracked along the back side and leaking. So I'm going to take that off and fix it real quick. But the gas line will basically attach right here to the left side of the carburetor. But let's go ahead and get that gas tank fixed before we try and do anything else. The gas tank is just held on by a bolt down here. I can get to it. Let's get that out of the way. Righty tighty loosey. There we go. I can't imagine these gas tanks being all that expensive. They're pretty small little tanks. But what I'm probably going to do, you can see this crack running all the way along here. And then it's cracked up here at the top. That can't be good for getting water in there. So I'm going to see if there's anything I can do to seal our crack up. And the crack comes down. Ooh, and there's crack down here at the bottom. This thing is all sorts of cracked up. For the gas tank, I've got this JB Weld Plastic Bonder. I'm going to try this. I've never used it for this type of application before. What I'm doing can't hurt because either this works or I have to get a new gas tank. That's how I see it anyway. Alright. I'm just going to work that into the cracks a little bit. And then this says a 15-minute dry time. It's already pretty dewy. And I'm trying to work it down into the cracks, but I'm also leaving just a lot of excess on there. It's like the more I look over this gas tank, the more cracks I find. There's a lot of very fine cracks in the gas tank that I'm covering with this. I'm hoping it'll be enough to at least get us a little use out of the pressure washer before I go and spend money on a new tank. Make sure it works and everything's hunky-dory. Everywhere you see this stuff, I've found small cracks that I'm filling with it. It says that it takes about 15 minutes for that to dry, so we'll go ahead and just set this aside, and I don't believe we can do a whole lot in putting the rest of this back together without that. So I'm just going to let this dry. I'm going to give it a lot more than 15 minutes, probably a little over an hour, and hopefully what I did is going to dry. I never have very good luck with these structural adhesives that you have to mix, but if it dries and it hardens and all those cracks are filled, I think this gas tank is still usable. The next thing I'm going to do after that is I'm going to reinstall our air filter components, and then we should have this pretty much ready to pour some gas in and try and start it up. So I'm going to bolt this down, and then we will try and fit our gas tank back on over top, and that'll screw in these 3 screws, and then we'll put our cover back on. With our gas tank back on there, the last thing that we have for the carburetor is our gas line right here. Just gotta get that into the side of the carburetor. Now we just attach our top piece. To Phillips head screws. Now, that should be all that there is to it. What I would like to do is get this thing to start and make sure that it's actually going to run. I'm not 100% pleased with how well this epoxy glue dried or didn't dry, but it is what it is. If I need to, I can always replace that gas tank. As long as it'll run, I know that this is probably, and it's not a hard thing to replace. So, get some gas, put it in there, fire it up, and see if it works.